15 years, really just the general concept of alkalizing our body, because I did start studying the dangers of acidic and the effects of inflammation on your body. And I was like, I want to be the best athlete I can be. So when I was younger, I didn't really care about, long-term health. I was like, I want to recover the best, and I want to perform at my best. So I started studying alkaline versus acidic. And I learned about alkalized water. It makes a lot of sense to me, being the most abundant source or thing in our entire body, and then the most abundant thing that we put into our body. It was like, well, this is a no-brainer. So when I started looking into options, and there's a ton of options out there for alkalized water, from the bottled sources that you can buy that are like $2 or $3 a liter at Sprouts and Whole Foods, to other units that you can get for your home. I started looking for the best, or what I thought was going to be the best, and I came across this company, Kangen Water, or Enagic, right? Yeah, Enagic, and they sell this unit with Kangen Water, which is, I think, a Japanese word for, what's it stand for?
Return to origin.
Okay.
That's what it means, stands for.
Yeah, and so they'll probably give you a little bit of background on that too, just because it is a naturally occurring concept. Alkalized water does occur naturally throughout different spots in our planet. So in any event, so I started really researching it, and ended up going with this unit. Couldn't have been happier. I think I'm feeling pretty good most days. I feel like I'm, probably like maybe around 26 or 27 on any given day. Maybe a couple of days, maybe 28, but for the most part, I think I'm doing pretty good. I do attribute it a lot, honestly, to an alkalized, I think, body, system, diet, and really water. So they'll also hopefully talk about the fact that this water does act, or this unit that we've got here actually splits the water, and they're going to explain how, into not just alkaline water, but actually acidic water. And so we've been just using acidic water to clean the gym almost exclusively for 6 years. Occasionally we would go with alcohol over the years, but I really just enjoy using the highly acidic water, which is kills germs. So it splits the water to alkaline and acidic. The acidic we use for purposes as well. And as a totally side little note, my mom has had really bad psoriasis. That's that hand condition, I think, or skin condition. And it actually treats skin conditions. So this was like when she moved here 5 years ago, I had her start spraying it on her hand, and she doesn't have it anymore. It was like gone within about a year.
I never heard a follow-up about that. So
Yeah,
hear now.
no, so yeah, there's no more conditions on her hands.
Yeah.
So it was like a long-term condition for like all kinds of creams and everything. Her hands would like actually like bleed sometimes because they would open up so much.
Yeah.
So, and then she would be like, oh, my hands, and those other stuff. So that's the, just additional benefit to this water as well. But I think that's just a little introduction I wanted to put out there. I do believe it also helps with inflammation from a training point of view. So if any folks are interested in serious training, I know a few of them that are here, then you'll probably like, learning about these benefits here too. So, all right, great, thanks.
Thanks
All
for
right.
having us. And thank you guys for coming. What a great crowd. If you guys want to come, we have 3 seats here in the front.
Front's off limits.
I promise I won't
I'm
call
gonna
on
move
you.
this over here to Debbie. Hey, you can take a seat over here.
Thank you so much, you guys, for giving us your time. I want to make sure that I keep this short and brief and to the point. I'm really, really passionate about this information. We started drinking this water, oh God, it's almost been 7 years now, which for me is a really long time. It's a 46-year-old company, so 7 years is like nothing. Here in the States, it's been here for roughly 15. Japanese product. So in Japan, everyone knows about it. It's like drinking, your core water. I see these at gyms all the time. Does anyone drink this? Okay, great, perfect. Okay. So it would be like this here in the United States. People drink Kangen water out in Japan. So when I first heard about it, I was blown away that I could not know about something like this that had been around for so many years. So I just want to briefly give you a synopsis of what we'll talk about. First, I'll tell you a little bit about my story. Second, we'll go into the properties of the water and why it's different from what you are currently drinking today. And then we'll go into a little bit about some of the acidic waters Paul was mentioning, because that's another thing that you guys may or may not be interested in that I think will encourage you to use on an everyday basis, because let's face it, we're dealing with a pandemic and we want to make sure that we are killing as many germs as possible to stay as healthy as we can. So I'm going to go ahead and just get started and talk about, can everyone see this? Hopefully I'm not blocking it. I'll try to stand here. Everyone kind of see that? Okay. Water. Water is the most important thing to put into your body. Why? Well, if you don't drink water, you die, right? So I would consider that to be very, very important. Did most of you know that water makes up 70% of our body? Yes. You guys are healthy individuals, so most of you know that. You can kind of go through these very quickly: the brain, the kidneys, the lungs, the eyes, the heart, and the muscles. Muscles, 75% water. So what you are flushing your body with is extremely important to reduce those toxic chemicals that are building up within your body as you're working out and straining those muscles. Make sense? Pretty simple, right? I want to talk a little bit about the 3 things that this water addresses. We're going to first talk about oxidative stress. Then we're going to talk about acidic stress, which is what Paul was talking about. And then dehydration. Oh, I went a little too far. Let me do that one more time. Sorry, guys. There we go. So we have oxidative stress. This water has an antioxidant potential to it. And I'm going to show that with this green little meter that I have over here. I don't want you to take just my word for it. I have all these little fun gadgets to kind of make it fun and more of a visual experience. I'm a visual learner, so I like to see proof. Then we're going to show the acidic versus the alkaline benefit. And then we're going to go into the superhydrating benefit. This water can penetrate on a cellular level, which is crazy to know. So let's first talk a little bit about where this originated from. Has anyone heard of blue zones? This is not typical information that most of us know. Anyone? Blue zones? Okay, yeah, a few. Blue zones are natural occurring aquifers around the world that have this water naturally occurring. And so the company that created this device, they wanted to mimic these blue zones so that we can have this water naturally occurring at our kitchen sink, right? We don't have the luxury typically to have this kind of water here in Fresno. There are a lot of additives, chemical additives to our water that we're probably not aware of, but this is going to be a lot easier for us to accumulate very healthy water at our kitchen sink.
I would say real quick, a lot of you guys probably heard of the one Lourdes, France. If you guys have ever heard holy water, where people go and they have all those little spigots, that is a natural aquifer, and that's where the holy water, healing water, it's because it has a lot of alkalinity and hydrogen, which we're going to go into. So,
Yeah, cool.
I know that's the one I heard about prior to this.
While you're talking, I'd love for you to kind of break down. This is the
Okay.
chamber inside the machine. I want you to understand how it's actually creating a different type of water.
So if there's any brainiacs like me that really want to get down to the science, come meet me afterwards. I can kind of go into this, but I'm going to dumb it down, make it super simple.
Good, thanks.
But anybody else, I was in medical device sales for a very long time, so I was always looking at clinical data. I had to go present information, so I never just took anybody's word for it. I've done a lot of research on this, but kind of break it down inside these machines, and you can go check it out just right inside Paul's office. There's plates, and the plates, just like magnets, there's a positive and a negative. Simplistically, when the water goes through these plates, there is an electrical charge, 220 watts of power that gets hit, and it essentially pulls the positive and negatively charged parts of the water. So the positive side is going to pull negative. Negative side is things like calcium, magnesium, sodium, and potassium. That's what we all refer to as electrolytes, right? Why you drink Gatorade, right?
And those are good.
Yes,
Those are very good.
right? But some things claim of that. So the negative is going to be your good minerals. The positive sides are going to be your oxidative things like metals, leads, lyes, contaminants in the water that we don't want in our body anyways. And so it essentially just, as you would put a magnet down to metal, it's going to pull to the positive and negative. That's exactly what it does. So at the top, you're going to see the alkaline. Out the bottom, you're going to see the acidic.
I would actually add something really quick if you don't mind.
Please.
Yeah.
So I've heard a lot of people say, oh, I can get alkaline water by just adding.
Yes.
Someone actually mentioned it to me like 2 weeks ago or something.
Yeah.
Like we can add.
That's
we
what
can,
all these have.
Yeah, we can add maybe extra potassium.
Yes.
And it'll make it more alkaline. I guess that's true. I didn't really argue or ask more questions, but I was like, I already knew that they're really not taking out the negative things that even a filter won't take out. So it's not so much that we're looking to add, we're looking to just keep the natural occurring properties of the water that is right there and just the best parts of it, it sounds like.
Yep.
Correct.
So where a lot of these waters like Core, if you just read the back of it, it starts off by saying purified by reverse osmosis.
Yeah.
And if you know about reverse osmosis or RO, it just takes out everything
Right.
in the water.
Including the minerals, so
Exactly.
it strips it of all minerals.
So that's why it then says that calcium chloride, magnesium chloride, potassium bicarbonate, because they have to add those things back in order to get it. But that's chemically altered rather than utilizing what's already naturally in the water. To your point.
Yeah, so to just be clear, nothing is being added to this water that's going through the machine. It's actually being restructured. So the molecule is actually being, I guess, split, I guess is an easy way to say it. And that is why it's more of an alkaline water versus an acidic water, is because it's pulling all of those alkaline minerals to that one side and it's dumping off the acidic stuff. Does that make sense? Does this help kind of give a visual? Okay, cool. I do also want you to talk briefly about H2. This is what is acting as an antioxidant in the body, and we're going to demonstrate this, but I want you to briefly talk about it.
Yeah, so H2, again, to my point that I said to you guys earlier, I was in medical device sales. I started using things online like PubMed, which everybody's heard of, peer-reviewed articles, scholarly journals, just looking up this water. And so if you guys remember when Jen walked around the beginning, all those little bubbles that you guys saw, that is hydrogen, or H2, and it provides an abundance of that. And if you guys remember back in school, that the atomic table of elements, right? Hydrogen is number 1. So hydrogen is the only thing that can break through the blood-brain barrier, and that's why if you were to drink this water, if you guys had, I'd recommend drink 4 or 5 glasses at once. I know when I first did that, you almost get a head rush, almost like a head high, a buzz almost. So with the hydrogen, it essentially gets into your body on a cellular level, and that is what you saw. And the hydrogen actually, as it disintegrates from the water, it doesn't stay in the water for long term. So as Jen's going to talk about, that's why it's super important to get this water fresh, because just like fruits and vegetables, right? If you cut an apple open, as Jen's going to show, it's going to then oxidize.
That's actually what I was going to go to next.
There you go.
Yeah. And I've had a lot of friends say, well, why don't they bottle this and sell it? It is because of that serious potential of antioxidants. It will diminish. It will actually penetrate in through plastic and out into the environment. So as you can see here, we have an apple. It's a fresh fruit. We know that fruits and vegetables are loaded with antioxidants, right? Do we all understand the importance of antioxidants and what they do for the most part? Okay? Antioxidants, they kill free radical damage in the body, so they help repair your cells so that it can neutralize and be flushed out of your body. That's an easy way to describe the importance of antioxidants. So you cut into a fresh antioxidant apple, you let it sit there on the counter, and what happens? It turns brown. It starts to rot, okay? So what we want to do is we want to reverse that aging process inside the body, okay? So what I'm going to do here is I have an ORP meter, and I'm going to have some of you read the numbers here. What I want you to look for on this meter is a negative number, and I'm going to have a little chart here. This is a little chart that we're going to go off of, okay? So everything you see to the right side of the chart is going to be oxidizing. It's going to be bad or unhealthy for you, okay? So we have things like soda. Do we have any soda drinkers? Yeah, at least they were being honest. bottled waters, tap water, those are all very oxidizing on the body. If you go over to the left side of the screen, you have all of the negatively charged Kangen water, cod liver oil, green tea, vitamin C. Those are all very antioxidant and very healthy for the body. If we consume more antioxidants, it's going to slow the free radical damage in our body down. And what does that mean? We're going to age slower. Who wants to age slower? Because I know I do. I do not want to
I
age.
just stopped like right here.
Right. Yes.
Exactly. Enough. And just so you guys have a comparison too, does anybody, like I saw you with the Jamba Juice earlier, does anybody else drink fresh pressed juice or shakes or anything like
Awesome.
that?
Love it.
So if you were to take this meter and throw it in your fresh pressed juice, it will typically be around -100 to 200. Just to give you an idea.
If it's fresh,
fresh,
not
like
if it's been
right
sitting.
as, yeah.
It has to be fresh. So if it's sitting in the fridge, it won't have that negative charge if it's sitting there for an hour. But go ahead.
Yep. No, that was it. Just to give you guys a comparison as I put this in all these different liquids, so you can think, okay, I know vegetables and fruits are -100, so then you can kind of use that as your baseline.
Okay, so let's start with this is soda, right? So look for a little negative sign.
What
If you
numbers does
don't
that say?
see a negative, then it's a positive.
Say it out loud so everybody hears.
Ooh. Positive. 600.
What is that?
That's
Sprite.
soda.
Wow,
Sprite.
plus 600.
So now we got Gatorade.
No, we wish, right?
780.
780.
Gatorade.
Gatorade.
Positive.
But you're getting your electrolytes, right?
Positive.
You're
Wait, let's
probably
make sure we
eating
have this
more if
clear.
they're artificial
Positive,
flavors.
bad. It is going to age you the fastest.
Positive
okay?
aging, negative.
Negative, anti-aging. So we're looking for that negative symbol on that meter. If you don't see it, it's a positive. Okay, just to be clear.
Alright, so just real quick. So Sprite was what?
Positive.
630. Gatorade was what?
This
This
is
is
doing
the
good
Sonic.
by drinking soda then, right?
Yeah.
We're doing a lot better.
I felt Gatorade was okay.
810.
What was
What?
that?
Dasani?
810 for Dasani.
And you
Whoa.
guys, this is the best-selling bottle on the market in America. Okay, just so you know.
Disney World's like $10.
It's
Oh,
made
yeah.
by Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's made by a soda marketer.
Yep.
And then this is Aquafina.
Oh, I'm sorry. I picked up off
Seven-
the feet and I was
774.
It's all bad.
So,
Yeah.
I got a question.
Question.
So the rumor is that I think it's either Dasani or one of the two basically put an additive
They do.
that creates thirst.
Oh,
Yes, right here.
So if you look at the back of Dasani,
Salt.
salt. Yep. So purified water, magnesium sulfate, potassium chloride, salt.
Fake news.
Salt.
Yep.
Everything has been fact checked. It's all
No, I know it is. I'm just
And
saying.
salt actually dehydrates you. It makes you want to drink more.
So here's smart water.
It's not that smart.
783.
Dumb one.
Not that smart.
No.
Wow.
Bad marketing.
Tom
Now
Brady
keep in
did.
mind, you guys, these bottles, I bought them
Hey, I'm
fresh
just
at the
saying, Tom
store,
Brady drinks.
okay?
I think most of you saw me crack open all the bottles
Oh
as
yeah,
I was
but that
pouring.
doesn't mean they're fresh. They've been sitting in there anywhere from 4 to 6 months before it hits the shelf and you're drinking it thinking you're getting fresh water.
So 4 to 6 months is for an American bottle of water. If anybody drinks Fiji, on average 1 to 1.5 years it's been sitting before ever being cracked open. And if you think about the distribution of water, you guys ever been to a gas station and seen those pallets just sitting outside?
Yep.
Heat on them,
Breaking down
hotness,
the
the
plastic.
sun leaching
Yeah.
it. So I mean, we're only going to ORP, but that's a
so many
whole
other
other thing.
things.
And so then we got core water. What's that reading?
742.
742. So a little better, but
Really?
still, yeah.
Stir that real good. Did you
I
stir it real
did.
good?
It's usually around 6 to 7, but that one's probably
Okay, so again, a positive, okay? Oxidizing the body, tap water, I'll pour cotton water.
We're usually the whole
So where's our tap water drinker? Oh yeah. You're recording, so I'll have somebody else read. This is tap. 824.
Whoa.
She just snorted on camera.
What's that? Is that Kangen?
Yeah, so this is Kangen. Let's see.
Look
what
for
else
a
is
positive or a negative.
there. Alright, so
want everyone to
what
see
number
this.
does that say right there?
430. Actually, 436. Negative 439. Keeps changing.
Wow.
Negative
So
400.
we've been over here,
Yeah.
and now we're way over here.
Yeah.
And you were drinking this fresh.
And again,
constant.
fresh pressed juice is negative 100 to negative 150. And just for a little bit of Kangen, you're at negative 400. I've even seen upwards of negative 800, 850.
So as it sits, that number will start to diminish. Negative 300, negative 200. It'll eventually become a positive because our environment is oxidizing. Question?
About how long is it good for to stay in that
24-hour half-life.
Yeah. So 24 hours, it'll be like a negative 200. And then in 48 hours, it'll be a positive. It's just the environment that we live in, okay? So I hope this gives you guys a good visual. This is by far superior than anything else that you could put into your body on a daily basis. So that's antioxidants. I'm gonna then move into pH, okay? I'm sure most of you have seen a pH chart before, right? We know the benefits of alkalinity versus acidity. We want these waters to test purple. That means that they're very alkaline, they're very high in minerals, yeah, before. If it goes on to the other side, if it's like the orange or the yellows or the greens, it's gonna be more acidic. Thank you, babes. The importance in doing this, I feel, is that the more alkalinity, the more antioxidants that we can pump into our body, the better we're gonna feel, and the more our bodies are gonna be able to fight and combat against sickness and disease. Not wild.
So, do we have a bigger, clear cup too? Okay, so, are you gonna do the soda?
Do the
one?
little,
Okay.
yeah, do the
So
little.
one thing I want you to show you guys, so if we have Kangen, right, and let's say you were to drink some of these other waters, you can obviously see the difference in the alkalinity. Now, let's say you were to have some tap water and then go over with Kangen, you'll start to see the alkalinity start to happen. It won't stay fully for some of these. You'll see it start to go down to blue because it's trying to neutralize. So this will help your body to neutralize these types of acidities, right? As you can see, very easily, just a little bit. Now, when you get down here,
The magic trick, right? This is what makes it fun, is being able to visually see it.
so for one soda, it takes about a gallon in order to neutralize it or even get it to a neutral pH. I could keep splitting these and doing it. What was that?
It's a soda.
Yeah.
Okay, so for those of you soda drinkers, because I've had friends, well, Jen, I just drink a soda a day or a soda a week or whatever the case may be. What if you just had one sip? Not even a whole soda, just one single sip of soda. Your body now has to combat against that acidity.
And not only that, then you'll see it hit right back to yellow.
Now, I want to be very clear with this, okay? And I'm sure Paul knows this. Your body has the ability to neutralize itself, okay? The body is a very powerful thing. You have to stay roughly around a 7.35 pH. If it starts to get above that, you can die. Acidic stress such as cancers or what was your mom struggling with? Arthritis, gout. There are a lot of different chronic diseases that people are struggling from all throughout the world, right? And it's because of these beverages that we're consuming and we're thinking, oh, it's not that bad, or this bottled water is healthier, core. And so I just wanted to help you guys kind of have a visual experience of this, that what we're consuming is actually not what we think it is. Everyone good there? Make pretty good sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I'm gonna move right along then. So I'm wanting to jump a little bit into fruits and vegetables and how we wash them. I'm sure most of us just wash them in what? Tap?
Yep.
Right, just put it under the sink. Yeah, not a big deal. So, no, that's all we have. I know, work with what we got. We have the ability to change the pH on this machine. So like Paul was saying, we can go all the way down from a 2.5 acidic water all the way up to an 11.5 pH water. So you have a large scale there. Now, what we're going to demonstrate first is the 11.5 pH. This water has the ability to break down oil. Has anyone in this room ever seen water and oil mix? You've seen it. How is it done?
You've seen it mix?
Oh, man.
Mix.
I thought you meant
Separate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Got you.
I need a
Got
video
you.
explanation.
It typically separates, right? So I'm going to do a visual. he's doing here is we're soaking some of the tomatoes in tap water and then soaking some of the tomatoes in the 11.5 strong Kangen water, okay? So this was the tap. Is this tap here?
That is 11.5.
Okay, so I'm gonna put the tap here. So now we have some 11.5 water that I poured into this jug that came from the unit. And I'm going to see, we can actually break down that oil into a milky substance. So
We use this as our laundry detergent.
this has allowed us to reduce all chemical cleaners, 409s, degreasers.
We'll
you
get out
name it.
blood, red wine, out of clothing and stuff. It's pretty wild to dump water on it.
Has anyone ever seen this before? Isn't that
So
crazy?
just to add a comment, if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
So what we're talking about is 11.5 is highly alkaline.
Yes.
That is actually a really strong cleaning agent. It's not killing things like the acidic.
Correct.
So
Thank you for clarifying.
yeah, so this is really high alkaline. It does break down oil. It's not something that we drink. That's the 9.5 that we do. But this is a great option for the house, just for cleaning. We clean our windows and mirrors with the 11.5. It's great. So it definitely gets rid of. That's what that is doing. It's breaking down that oil, unlike regular water, which it can't do anything to.
Now, the
So-
reason why I want to kind of thank you for that,
Yeah.
because that's important to clarify that so everyone is understanding what we're sharing here. The reason why that is important is because most of us don't know this, but pesticides are oil-based. And they do that so that when it rains, it's not washing away those pesticides, right? It makes sense. But the problem is that when you stick it under your tap water, it's not pulling those oil-based pesticides off, and you're then consuming those pesticides. Pesticides are very toxic. Would everyone agree with that? We don't want to consume pesticides. We're trying to stay away from pesticides, and a lot of us are buying more organic produce because of that. So are you doing a little?
So this is tap. Yeah, this is tap water. So we'll just see what comes off these tomatoes, and these are just basic nature sweet cherry tomatoes you can get pretty
At
much
Save-Mart.
any grocery store. So these two are just a regular tap water. So not a whole lot there, right?
You let them soak good enough?
Yeah, they should have. And obviously, the longer it goes, the more that will continue to come off of these
Isn't that crazy?
tomatoes. And these are just basic tomatoes. This isn't. I've seen when we do our big bowls of strawberries and the rest of it. Yeah, this isn't. I didn't put pH drops in that at all.
No.
That's just straight off of the tomatoes
Wow.
for
You want
about.
to drink this?
No.
Anyone?
That's crazy.
But you guys are eating it.
Yeah, man.
You're eating it, and just
That's
because
about
you
what
don't
it is,
see
too.
it doesn't mean that it's not there. So these are toxic chemicals that we want to eliminate from our food to help our body be more healthy.
If you want to take one, pass those around. If you don't like tomatoes, you don't have to. I'm gonna do a little taste test, see if you guys notice any different. Grab one, pass those around. So those are the Kangen tomatoes. Those are the ones that are cleaned in Kangen. Recleaned the Kangen. Another one.
Now, while you guys are sharing tomatoes and stuff, I want to talk about two other waters, and we're almost wrapping up here.
Yeah.
We have the acidic water, and this is what Paul was talking about, the 2.5 acidic water. I keep it in a container. I do not buy any disinfecting spray. This is what I use.
Real
This
quick,
is
Jen.
used.
Hold
Oh,
So everybody, if you got your tomato, try that one now. This next one I'm gonna pass out, so everybody eat that one, and I'm gonna pass you one that's just washed with tap water. I want to see if you guys can taste the difference between the two.
you want-
Yeah.
Question. So the
Oh wow.
pH level of that water, like you said, there's a half part for the actual
A shell.
Hydrogen.
portion of it.
Just those bubbles we showed. That's it. Alkalinity, cleanliness of the water will remain for as long as it. Just that massive antioxidant property is how much. That's it. So. So for anyone that tried both, did you guys taste any difference between the first and the second one? Yep. So that's. So we heard more vibrant. We heard the one without Kangen tasted very filmy. Did anybody else get a different experience with tasting the two tomatoes? Right? And that's just like 1 minute of sitting in the water. So you can imagine actually doing this to all your fruits and vegetables. And this is why, like, in LA, I have quite a few, like, high-end 5-star sushi restaurants and restaurants that use this to clean all their fruits and vegetables and will not do anything in their kitchen without this water. Because it, obviously, you can taste the difference in one tomato. You can imagine full meals that are fresh ingredients. It makes huge differences, especially to chefs.
So you have that 11.5 water can dissolve the oil, and then we have the 2.5 acidic water, and this water is what is going to kill everything. It'll kill salmonella, it'll kill E. coli, it'll kill MRSA. It is used within the top hospitals in Japan for skin issues. They soak feet or any wound on the body with this water. It is very, very powerful, and it is what I've been using during this whole pandemic to disinfect my hands, my environment, and if you'd like, I want you to pass this around. And don't take a big whiff, take a small
It's potent.
whiff. And you'll smell this, it almost smells like a
Bleach.
almost in a way, right? But the cool thing about this is that we are taking the machine, it's using an electrolysis chamber with tap water and a solution that is like a salt water. Have you ever heard of people like jump into the ocean and the salt water helps kind of heal wounds? So think of it as like a disinfecting salt water, okay? So it's not a chemical. You could technically take a swig of that. Nothing would happen. You don't want to. And then on the other scale of things, we have a beauty water. Does anyone in here use like a facial toner on their skin? Yeah, facial toner. Most women do. Well, it makes a facial toner
Jason, I
that
know
we
you
call
wanted to raise your
beauty.
hand.
Do you use
Facial toner?
And just to, any kids, anybody have kids here? One of the things that me and Jay don't have kids yet, but one of the cool things about this, as you'll see in a second, is like this isn't like bleach in some of those clean. Can I see that really quickly and I'll give it back to you guys? So you guys smelt it, right?
Oh, I was going to show one thing.
You can drink it. You obviously don't want to drink it, but if a kid or a child was to get into this versus bleach or anything else, obviously you'd be rushing me to the hospital right now if I just drank bleach or something else. That's not going to hurt or harm my body. To me, that's important to not have. What?
Go get one.
There you go, Jason.
They're all done.
Oh, thank you. So remember? What was that?
So Instagram's been doing this thing on basically people put their feet in this water and then all of a sudden you see like this brown pool where it just detoxifies the person. Does that, what you're getting to, am I getting ahead of you? Is that what is it kind of doing? Or?
I'm not,
Someone?
I've seen it, but I'm
Okay.
not familiar with
Okay.
what that is physically doing to the
Okay,
body.
gotcha.
I wish I knew, I wish I could answer the question.
That's okay.
But this, I think that's more pulling toxins out of
It
the
is, but I
body.
didn't know if the water helps
This
do
is
this.
more killing any bacterial surface.
Yeah.
Hence why it helped with his mom. It's
So like if you're
eczema.
cooking in the kitchen, you're using raw fish, raw meat, you use the acid water to kill bacteria.
Yeah.
So like we don't have cleaning chemicals in our house. We use the 11.5 for laundry detergent. We put essential lavender, essential oil into it to give it that scent. So that you can eliminate all your chemicals in your house.
A positive 1,000. Okay? I'm showing, this is the 2.5. It's blinking a positive 1,000 because the meter doesn't even go as high as it can go to show how it has the ability to kill the pathogens on the surface of the skin. Now, moving right along.
And that's why Paul's mom also got the, for psoriasis.
Yeah.
Another thing I know it's helped with like eczema. I had, believe it or not, before Kangen, I had terrible acne. Even if I think it was 25 when I first started. Really bad acne. Started using the 11.5 to pull the oils out of my face. Then I would use the acid water to disinfect and clean my face. And then there's another water that, the beauty water that acts as a toner, astringent, tightener. And then use that. Within about 2 weeks, I had terrible acne all down my neck and onto my chest, and it went away within less than a month by just using this, obviously drinking and
That was your mind.
topical. Yeah.
But, this was just a great, fun visual experience for you guys to see. And hopefully you enjoyed it. It's sort of like a science experiment. But I kind of just want to break down a little bit of math because this is what I did when I sat through one of these demos and I watched what was happening. I was blown away. one, not spending that kind of money on water. Then I went and I broke it down. Now you guys, I got my machine 7 years ago. I've done a price comparison 2 years ago. I did it again today, and water has skyrocketed in price, okay? So this is Core, which we did a demonstration on Core. They're charging on Amazon and Walmart. Walmart I consider to be a very great place to find cheap things. They want for 30 ounces, a 12 pack for $15, okay? If you do the math,
So that's this 30-ounce ball.
So a little over $1. That's a good price.
that's a good
For
price.
Core,
That's
that's,
a
that's
great
on
price,
Walmart.
actually.
This I bought it at where did I go this morning?
7-Eleven
No,
or
what grocery store is right by
something? Oh,
us?
Save Mart.
Save Mart, and this was I think $2.99 if you just buy it in That's from obviously buying in bulk from like Walmart or.
But if you
Amazon.
buy it in bulk, they give better prices, right? But that's $64 a gallon. I drink roughly about 3/4 a gallon a day. Does anyone drink a gallon a day? There are a few people. You should be drinking about half of your body weight in water per day.
And for you guys, if you're working out with Paul, you need to be doing close to an ounce of
Yeah.
water per pound.
Because you're sweating so much.
Yeah.
So if you're doing the math, it's $64 a gallon, which is absurd to spend. You're looking at roughly close to $2,000 a month and $23,000 a year on water, you guys, which is crazy to me. Now, when you're in your 90s, which I'm sure because most of you work out, you'll probably live to be in your 90s, especially if you switch over to Kangen water. But when you're in when you're in your 90s, you're probably going to be spending $5, $6, $7, if not more, for one bottle of water. It'll constantly be rising, and that's the scary part of water. So hopefully this gives you a good visual.
And last thing too, it's just like anything else. If you're purchasing bottled water, it will be something you have to do until the very last day of your life. That's it. It's just a fact. You will literally have to be forking out money every day, every week, however you purchase your water forever.
Yeah. So last slide, this just gives you a visual of the machines, and I had to ask myself when I was considering a unit, I was like, okay, I can either continue, and at the time I was spending about $50 a month. I wasn't spending $64
Were you buying those
per
big?
gallon. I was buying the 5-gallon drums
Like
and having
those.
it delivered and so forth. But if you take the price of a machine and you divide it by 30 years, which is the proven track record that these machines last, and they can say that because they have machines out there right now that are 30 years old. Remember, it's a 46-year-old company, okay? It's roughly, I think it comes to like 34 cents a day, okay? Are you spending 34 cents a day? Maybe you're spending $2 a day. And so when I went back and forth between the two, I was like, maybe I'm already spending that. Here, it's an environmental disaster. I mean, these bottles are ending up in our oceans, unfortunately. With a unit, you don't have to worry about that environmental disaster. You can pump 1,000 gallons in the morning and 1,000 gallons at night. You have an unlimited supply of water for you and your family. And so I went back and forth between, well, this is a little unhealthy, this is healthy, this is acidic, this is alkaline, and for me it was a no-brainer. So if you guys are interested in investing in something like this that will pay you back, I promise it'll pay you back in the long run. Let us know, let Paul know, we can answer any questions you may have. The great thing is that the company, they accept everyone interest-free for any financing. If you want to throw a couple $100 towards a unit, or even $100 a month towards a unit, they make it available so that everyone can get one.
You
So
can do it up to 24 months.
24 months financing,
Which is
no
awesome.
interest. So I want to thank you guys so much for.
I'm gonna add a few things here,
Oh.
guys.
Please, yeah.
So, as Jennifer mentioned, these units are a great investment, not just from the expense of not throwing the money away into these bottled waters, but actually the water is so much healthier. But the other thing I wanted to mention is that I didn't want to put this on and be like, hey, I want to give you all a really big hard sales pitch on spending $5,000. Obviously, I think it's worth the investment, but I also wanted to just let you know, if you guys want, you can pick up water from me. So you can get a 5-gallon jug or a 3-gallon jug or a little gallon, whatever you want, you can pick it up from me. So I'm not really just like, hey, you know, who's going to write that, you know, Austin's going to be the first one to write that $5,000 check to buy his first unit. I really just want to be like, hey, it's a great investment. There's no question about it in my mind. And as they said, 0% interest financing for a couple of years, save money on a bunch of water, obviously healthier water, but the other aspect is, really the main thing I wanted you guys to know was that I can provide the water for you. So we'll start selling the water, $2 a gallon is I think a great price, and get you, you know, a big jug and everything else if you want. So I wanted to make sure you guys understood that.
Yeah. And if anybody is willing, so here's the way that I put it, because you know, a lot of times, because I know even for Jen, the first time she heard this, she was kind of like on the back burner, right? The great thing for you guys, you have access to it right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think every single person should have it, but if you want to really put yourself to the test and see what this water's about, commit yourself for 3 weeks. Do a 3-week challenge where you're coming in here every day or every other day to get fresh water. In the almost 7 years I've been doing this, I have never met somebody that has actually committed to a 3 or 4 week period of drinking this water and leave and be like, I didn't feel anything. I didn't notice a difference. Never.
Also, I'll mention a little anecdotal story. So here's a personal one. So a couple months ago, we had a big party. As you guys know, I don't really drink alcohol. And Jason reminded me of it because he was just having his son's. I think it was you guys had a party, and he got a little over the top.
He's feeling nice.
Yeah, and he was like, man, there's no way I'm gonna get to tomorrow's workout. But I gave him and his wife a 5-gallon jug to take home just the other day. So he's been drinking the water, and he just. I mean, if you want, you can just say.
He actually told us this story
Yeah.
as soon as we walked in.
Like,
He's like, I was here doing sled push-ups.
I was surprised, right, that he was feeling not normally anywhere near, you know, hungover. And so my story is actually, I wasn't surprised. I know I'm a rock star. A couple months ago, I got, I don't know, a lot. It was over, you know, 10 shots of alcohol, and for me, I never drink. I was definitely hammered. I want to count 13, but I'll be honest with you, some of those ended up on my shirt. Because I was like really gone. But I was here the next morning at 6:45, opening the gym, and although I was tired, I'm not going to pretend I wasn't. You know, I opened up the gym and you know, doing class and training. So I mean, I don't know what really that says, but I do think the ability to get rid of toxins is also really legitimately real. And I know, like I said, I feel pretty damn good every single day.
That's awesome.
With I think a big part of that is the water. So
I've actually had more people that I like to admit purchase this machine because they got hammered. I told them to drink the water while they were drinking alcohol, see how they felt the next day. And like that's the easiest test for people that do drink. When you don't have a hangover the next day, you're like, no way.
Yeah. I didn't have I didn't have any of a headache. I just was like, tired.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
got like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. But anyway, so I think I'll wrap it up here, guys. If you do want to get some water from me, you can let me know. If you've got questions about actually how the financing project works or whatnot, you can let me or us know.
Or if you have any in-depth questions you want to ask too, because again, I like to get into it. So if anybody wants more info, please come on up. I'd love to either send you info or answer any other questions you guys have.
Sweet.
Thanks,
But
guys.
thank you guys.